Alrighty, welcome everybody. Welcome to another session on something that I like to do a lot, or something that I've done actually last year a fair bit and has generated me a ton of leads. And so this is something that I want to really chat about because I'm not really truly like 100% I would say expert on the field, and that's on the topic of doing lead magnets. What's called. Some people love them, some people hate them. It's like Marmite; you either love it or hate it. So it's a bit of a double-edged sword. So if you're doing really good, bad job at at lead magnets, people will start hating you. But if you're actually doing a good job and you invested a fair bit of mind, fair bit of time into lead magnets, then people will appreciate the resource that you're actually sharing. And there's a ton of value that you can build around. You essentially build, generate leads, qualify even leads. There's a lot of different things you can really do with lead magnets. And because I'm not an expert on this topic, it made sense to get somebody on board. They're going to introduce you in a bit, and he's going to introduce himself. But everybody who's tuning in across LinkedIn and across YouTube, please introduce yourself. Please do say where you're from, which part of the world, and what is it that you do. And maybe just a quick addition to that. Have you ever done any lead magnets on either LinkedIn or X or some other platform? What is your experience like, and what are the challenges you're finding, whether that's to produce them, to generate the leads, to respond to every lead, maybe in the comments? What is the challenge that you have faced? I will tell you what my challenges were, and I can just show you also an example of that, how I struggled to respond to like hundreds and hundreds of thousands of people. But that's why we invited, the subject matter expert here to kind of outline exactly how to do things and how to streamline stuff. So Razgar, really a pleasure to have you here. Please introduce yourself, and then we're going to dive in.
Thanks, Frank, and really happy to be on the podcast/webinar series that you do each week. So maybe before I get into lead magnets, just a bit of background about myself in case people don't know. I'm the founder of Lead Shark, which is a lead magnet automation platform. But before I started Lead Shark 2 years ago, I was mainly working as a product manager at different small scale tech startups. And in my last position, I was actually also in charge of selling my own product. You also may not know this because maybe we didn't talk in detail when we first met at Latitude event. But basically, at my last product manager job, so my main KPI was how much I sold my own ship supplier SaaS solution. So basically, I was spending 50% of my day literally prospecting, cold DMing people, even cold calling ship suppliers around the world. And there is a list, I'm not going to get too much into detail, but there is a list called the IMPA
Mhm.
supplier list. So basically, just scraping different lists, lead lists, and just calling them, reaching out to them on LinkedIn, on manual call, DMs, emails, etc. So I quickly realized that it actually takes a lot of time to do something like this, like do outbound essentially, if you have no automation or if you have no system in place, let's say. So I knew back then when I started the company, I wanted it to be in the sales tech space first of all, and also just making people's lives easier and sort of removing this manual effort or manual labor, if you will, that I was doing day to day basis. So that's how LeadShark also came to be. That when I quit my job about 2 years ago, I was interviewing mainly like LinkedIn power users, such as yourself. Like you run a lot of lead magnets also. You'll show some examples today. But so in one of the conversations, I quickly realized that one of the pain points is that no such thing as ManyChat exists for LinkedIn actually. So these people were getting a lot of comments on all platforms, on Instagram, LinkedIn, X as you mentioned, but there was no such tool for delivering, let's say, these lead magnet deliverables at scale
Yeah.
on LinkedIn, especially. So I told them, I will build this and I'll come back, in 1 month or something. And I eventually ended up building it in September of 2024, I think, so 1.5 years ago. And since then, there's been a lot of activity on the platform, I would say. So close to 10,000 lead magnets automations, which is basically the posts that ask you to comment a keyword. If the audience doesn't know, to comment, AI, and I will send you my, AI guide or whatever. So
Yeah.
basically, there's. I mean, I'm just explaining it to maybe the beginners for lead magnets, if there are. So basically, the platform automates these lead magnets at scale and delivers the resources at scale. But more importantly, it helps people to build a system for scalable and continuous lead generation, which you would not be able to do if you're doing all this manually, one by one, especially for solopreneurs such as myself,
Yeah.
found consultants that are 1 or 2 people operations. So usually these people are suffering from what I like to call suffering from success. So that is my ideal customer, is someone who's already suffering from success with lead magnets, let's say. So that is kind of the background information about me before I get into the more nitty gritty and the examples and such. But I don't know. Do you have any questions, or is that good enough for the background?
Well, very good enough to the background, right? So it's I think if somebody hasn't done lead magnets in the audience, guys, please do say that in the comments as well. Just to kind of maybe get just a better feel in terms of whether you've done lead magnets or didn't do, or did do a lot of them. And if you did do a lot of them, you're probably a customer already of LeadShark. So yeah. No, so a quick intro of me. To me, if somebody doesn't know me, so my name is Frank. I'm the co-founder of a company called SalesForge. We help you to do the other bits that you need to do, which is typically LinkedIn outreach. If you want to probably do something when it comes to outreach or driving people into even this webinar. To be honest, we use SalesForge to actually drive a lot of people into this webinar. So maybe some of you have received a LinkedIn message from us or one of my colleagues. And we also do email. So we just do that at scale. So just a quick intro on that. But yeah, let's dive in then, Razgar, into the content, the meat of the session. And then what I recommend everybody to do also in the comment section, just please ask your questions at everything that you see. So don't ask them at the end, ask them as you see them. And then what I'm going to do for the second part of the session, we're going to take your questions. So this is a fantastic opportunity for you to ask questions to Razgar about anything that has to do with lead magnets, or to me when it comes to outreach, whatever, like any questions that you wish. This is the time for you guys. All right, over to you, Razgar. Let's go for it.
Sure. So before I jump into the slides and more examples of lead magnets, I quickly want to show some of the stats that's running live on the platform, and this is a public page actually that I sent you as well. So basically, since we started, there's been 10,000 lead magnets so far running in the system, which equated to 1.4 million leads generated, and this is about 750K, close to 1 million unique leads across all of the LeadShark users. And here are some interesting maybe stats for people as well. That I would presume, for example, like Thursday is a big day for lead magnets, but it turns out Tuesday is the biggest day of the posting lead magnets, let's say. And the giveaway platform is also very interesting to me, because it is what you promise to send from a lead magnet. And we can overwhelmingly see that Notion is the #1 giveaway platform. And the custom link also includes a lot of Notion links as well. The second most popular is leads.sh. So this is actually the LeadShark short link, what we call a lead magnet link. Essentially, it's just like a one-pager. And I will show an example that you can email gate your resources as well, just to collect emails to then nurture them, or connect like to something into like Forge or something, that the emails that you capture. So a lot of people are using that one as well. Nice. And rest is like YouTube, Google Drive, Calendly, what else? So yeah, Beehive is a big one. So here actually, yeah.
Do you know why people use Notion? Maybe because Notion is typically #1, but do you know why Notion is being used?
Well, I'm not really entirely certain, because it's not really an AI native like platform, I guess. But maybe it's because out of habit. Maybe that's the way people have been doing it in the past. Also, if you look at the lead magnet examples on LinkedIn, like most of them, they're showing the Notion page, right? So my assumption, and one of the reasons, is because it looks nice. Like the screenshot of the Notion also looks nice. Like you feel like you're going to get a lot of value from an in-depth Notion page. So that might be one of the reasons. And it's also easy to work with. And also one of the reasons why I'm not doing something like a competitor to build your lead magnet, because Notion already exists and it's very easy to use. So it's a good question.
Yeah, I was just always surprised, because to me, like when I started to see lead magnets and I started seeing Notion, it's like I would never associate Notion as a sort of a lead magnet. So I always thought to myself there has to be some other environment for lead magnets, but not Notion. But it's just interesting to see, because for me, I'm not a big Notion user myself. And I personally just don't kind of probably get it, like why it's a Notion. But I also understand that there's a lot of Notion users out there as well. But just interesting to see your perspective, because you see, thousands of magnets.
And well, go ahead.
So, and I guess, do you have, so there's some other insights? I think, how many, did you say you're launching thousands of lead magnets in the last hour even?
thousands of lead magnets in the what? Sorry, I didn't understand the question.
No, so I mean, you're showing the time frame. What's the time frame here? Because you're showing the
Oh, I
magnet.
mean, the time frame is actually quite large, so it's beginning of maybe last. So it's like 1 year, I would say.
Okay, gotcha.
But
So
I
the
mean,
time
you
frame.
can see the trajectory is kind of like how can I say, like a hockey stick type of. So it's still increasing the number of daily lead magnets. And also, what might be more important or interesting to you is the top leads generated per user, right? So this bottom actually two sections are showing the most active users. Like one of them is the Bureau Ventures team, like Harold, for example, has 188 lead magnets. So they already are using this at scale to build a system that's not just a one and done type of lead magnet. And these power users of LeadShark are generating over 40,000 leads per user. So this is actually unique people that are getting commenting on their posts essentially. So that's kind of the stat. Yeah.
So is it typically designed for coaches or like SaaS founders? Like who's a typical user of the lead magnets? From what you're saying?
So from what I'm seeing, and I don't know, this happened kind of organically as well, but they're mainly in the AI consultancy space. And I think this is also because AI is kind of the booming hot topic right now. But either consultants or solo founders that are trying to drive traffic to their SaaS business. But I mean, this is not just a hypothesis. You can also see this in the frequently used keywords, right? So if you look at the top keyword, like comment X, and I will send you, AI is the top keyword, and agent, nano, banana, probably, GPT, what else? UGC is a big one as well. Like LeadShark has a lot of customers that are in the UGC, again, AI generated UGC space as well.
Yes.
And Claude, Sora. So you can already see that most of them are about AI.
I'm disappointed that there's not a keyword called bacon, in there. But hopefully we can change that this year. But yeah, I personally use the AI keyword myself, and I can tell you that it has been flying. I'm going to show you the example. And I also said, just comment AI. And I think that the thing with the AI is just literally 2 letters, that you just need
easy
to comment.
Yeah, easy to comment.
It's very easy to comment, which is why it's not just, the fact that it's AI, but it's like 2 letters that you just need to enter, and that's it. So you kind of make it, reducing the friction essentially on the commenting front. If you had like a super long, word, like maybe it would have a negative impact on your conversion rate. So I think that is just something for everybody to take into account. Just try to keep it as short as you can, and you can see that all the keywords are actually pretty short generally. Playbook is the longest one from what I'm seeing, but even that is like pretty decent.
For sure. And kind of piggybacking off of what you were saying, it adds friction to just say comment something and I will send you, right? So it's always easier to say comment AI or comment, because there are still some people who use it like, just comment below and I'll send you the system. But that actually, introduces like, what should I comment? Like I'm interested, or so it basically adds a layer of friction that is not needed, I would say. But without further ado, I will share how to get bacon with lead magnets. So I, named my presentation according to the subject matter and to the day. So how to get bacon, also known as more leads, more customers, more bottom line, more revenue, and more meetings with lead magnets. So that's kind of the full loop that LeadShark is also trying to get to eventually, or aspiring to get to. But we'll see the steps. So firstly, the problem we are solving, in my mind, is again for the people who are suffering from success already, right? So in general, I do have some platforms to teach people about lead magnets. I share a lot of free resources about lead magnets, but the power users of LeadShark already have these systems in place when they come to LeadShark, if that makes sense. So their problem more so is they don't know what to do with that scale of engagement, of that scale of leads. Like they don't know how to filter those leads and turn them into customers eventually. So the more immediate problem is I got a lot of comments. Okay, what can I do? So in my mind, it is solving that pain point. Like unless you have like an assistant or a team that's delivering this very, very hard to catch up with, it's essentially a few hundred comments even. So and the way this works, to just give it up ahead in the beginning, is so the left side, what you're seeing is from my what is the lead magnet content, right? So what is the lead magnet? Essentially, it's broken down to me into 4 or 5 components. It starts with an authority statement, like why am I an authority in this space? I've sent 10,000 lead magnets through my system. Okay, that's the authority. which is the zero step actually here. The second step, or sometimes alternatively, is the problem statement, like, right? So you're getting a lot of leads, but what can you do with these leads? And then you would break it down into a solution, which is, I built this system called LeadShark that is delivering these, magnets at scale. And the content, so on the left side, I'm guiding you through step by step. What is the lead magnet actually? So content is what is being delivered when I comment, or when I essentially do the call to action of commenting the keyword. And you have to really sell this content as well. So you have to have really good value in the content, which often sells itself, but you also have to do a good job at selling the lead magnet giveaway, essentially, in the post as well. So, and what we do is on the right side, so everything that comes after creating a great resource and creating a great post is what we do is the rapid delivery. So it's really important also for the algorithm to sort of respond to these comments as they come, at least for the first 1 or 2 hours. I don't know if you've observed this as well, but if you're not engaging with anyone for like 24 hours, LinkedIn also is potentially like penalizing you because you're not engaging, you're not delivering it fast, or you're not responding to the comments fast, rather. So you want to have this rapid delivery, which is, again, quite difficult at scale. Second point is what we help with is the leads captured. So people have commented, but I don't know what to do with these people, or I don't know how to filter them based on my ICP criteria, or how to get their email, which we will see there's multiple ways of getting their email, and how to essentially nurture them to eventually become, again, my customer, or free trial user, or booked a meeting or call or something like that. So the last step, again, is to close the loop into converting them to follow-ups. And I do this in different ways as well. So one of the ways is like what you're doing is essentially, if you touch point with anything, you keep getting repeated nurturing emails, or maybe follow-up DMs or something like that. So I mean, you're the more expert on the the last part as well. So that is the whole system. And the consistency here is what builds the trust in my mind. And what I mean by that is not just posting consistently, which is a common LinkedIn advice. Like that to me is kind of how can I say, overrated, to use the best of words. Like you have to just post every single day, or like you have to comment on other people's posts. But what I mean here by consistency is actually being consistently giving away something good. Like again, the value point that you were touching upon as well. Like consistently just delivering essentially the promise. And here the main promise is I'm going to send you something when you comment. So that's the problem that LeadShark is solving at scale. So here are just a few quick examples of how this works at scale. So the post on the bottom left side that first popped up is about Claude Cowork, I think. So it's a quite relatively new Claude release. And this post actually is from today, maybe now 17 hours ago.
Actually, yeah, I've seen it myself.
You've seen it. So this post basically got over 2,000 comments in under 10 hours. So I've been watching it like hour by hour. So this is quite a good example of how instantly viral one of these lead magnet posts can be. And this is what separates it from any other type of post that you see on LinkedIn, basically. So I don't really think any other type of post can get 2,000 comments in 10 hours like this one on the bottom left. So, and there are quite a few examples in the system that are running over even 10,000 comments. Like top left is Maria's example. And she also is a solopreneur, much like myself. And she's, delivering clients or getting herself clients at scale by essentially being the authority in that field, right? So whatever, her deliverable is like LinkedIn and teaching you LinkedIn and teaching you lead magnets, essentially. So she's proving herself that she knows LinkedIn, like she knows lead magnets. So that's actually, it works both ways, which is quite good. So you want to have that platform market fit or platform customer fit also sometimes. And lastly, this is kind of the quintessential example that I give in all of or most of my webinars. Is Jesse has sent over, so this number is 41,000 now, and maybe like 160 lead magnets in just the last 6 months. If you divide that per day, that's actually one lead magnet per day, getting close to 500 and 1,000 comments every single day for the last 6 months, which is kind of insane to see, really. And the screenshot even he's showing here actually is from LeadShark. So on the top day, I can see that he got 711 unique leads just in one day on this example. So definitely is a good example of what you can do with lead magnets, especially if you have multiple systems in place like LeadShark and also for writing and repurposing the content as well. So this is just kind of the, let's say, the authority slide, and also showing people that they can do it as well, right? Like, so if you have these three factors, you can also, I believe you can also get to this level. I mean, I got quite lucky with lead magnets. If I had to turn it back to myself, so my first lead magnet was maybe like 1 year ago, in last December, and my very first lead magnet got like over 300 comments, which is quite good actually. But I mean that is both replicable and not as well at the same time, because what I've been doing is I already had the LeadShark system in place. I had the customers, a few customers. So what ended up happening is they came and the customers end up commenting on my post who had like 20,000 followers on LinkedIn. So basically, that's a good way to kickstart it also, to have your friends and family, especially if they have like a high engagement on LinkedIn, to come and comment. And this is something I do to this day as well. Like, I try to comment on every single lead magnet that I see on LinkedIn, just to support them, and mainly because they're my customers now. So basically,
is it doesn't matter. Maybe it's on a post, like, which is important, or lead magnets. Like, if you have employees in the company, you can just literally put in Slack and say, "Hey guys, can you just please comment as well?" Because it's important. The first, I think, from what I see, the first 5-10 minutes are like super critical. Because if it's not going to take off in the first 5-10 minutes, you may want to delete the whole post and restart it, redo it again. That's sometimes I would do. I've never done this, but essentially, if the post doesn't fly, doesn't matter what post, lead magnet post or any post on LinkedIn doesn't fly, then I actually just cancel it, just delete it and start it again. I know a few of my other consultants actually do the same. Like, if they see the algorithm gods did not favor them, then they would just kill it. So I'm curious on that front, but yeah, I mean, generally speaking, you can ask anybody just to support you, whether that's in your own environment, so in Slack, or you can just ping people on LinkedIn and just ask them, "Hey, could you please support me on this one?" Like, proactively, to help you boost. So as I said, like, the first few minutes just matters. Other people, what they do is they even have these sort of WhatsApp groups where they just support each other. You could call it an engagement pod, but this is like just really just to boost in the first 5 minutes. So the first 5-10 minutes just matters a lot, and then later it matters a lot less. You just want to kind of jumpstart the engine, sort of. So yeah.
Really good points. I mean, yeah, I'm personally not in any of the pod type of things, but again, it did help to have all of these customers on the platform that are inherently kind of supporting me, or know me, I guess, that people you have a relationship with, or you have built a relationship with on LinkedIn. You can obviously ask them to comment. It is very quite important. And also, one example, I'm not going to name names, but there's a really young SDR that gets a lot of engagement, and people are saying, because his company has like 500 employees, so in the beginning, just everyone from his company just comes and comments, so that's why it kind of goes viral back to back. So yeah, definitely good, great points. But beyond that, beyond the initial 1 hour, so what makes a lead magnet great, in my mind, is these three things, and I'm kind of refining them as I go all the time, right? So, and the first one is something that we've been talking about even in this webinar, is that you have to deliver real value. So this means, like, this is how they teach lead magnets. So basically, if you read any book on lead magnet, which is the $100 million leads by Hormozi, he says it should be something that you would pay money for, essentially. So it really is valuable to these people. And eventually, so I would add one more thing to that, is eventually it should solve a problem that unlocks another problem which your paying product solves, actually. So it should solve some of the problem, but not all of the problem, if that makes sense. So and one of the key thing for value is, like, can I use this today, or can I implement this today? So one of the main pitfalls of people who are new to lead magnets is they end up giving like coupon codes. And I've done this in the past before. I'm guilty of this. So they're kind of overtly selling their own product, essentially. Like, here's a free trial. I'm giving away the free trial. So okay, great, but that is not something that is immediately valuable to me. Sometimes if I don't pay for your solution, even, like, I have to kind of become a user. There's a lot of friction essentially going on. Like, you have to be able to get the value pretty much off the bat, and without having to ideally sign up to my platform as well. Like, you need to be getting that value, in my mind. The second point is consistency, aka credibility. Does this person actually practice what they preach, or do they have the necessary credentials or the numbers to kind of prove essentially what they're talking about. Now, there are a lot of lead magnets who go viral with minimal credibility, and you can do this without credibility, but still eventually people realize this when they get the deliverable or when they get the valuable resource, that this person, okay, maybe doesn't know too much what they're talking about, or they're claiming to book 300 meetings per month, but maybe not really, right? Or they are claiming to have fired their entire
it doesn't look like it. Okay. Yes, but he's talking about.
Yeah, exactly. It doesn't look like it, right? So when someone like you, which I think you will show the example of the lead magnet that you're running, do this, people already know these like 1 and 2 off the bat. Like, this person is credible. They know what they're talking about. They are booking X many meetings per month, and also I will get what I ask for. So that's the second pillar. And the sort of the last pillar is, we've seen a lot of examples with AI actually. Like, is this a relevant hot topic that is also solving a pain problem? Like a pain point of mine, or at least I'm interested in this topic. Like, I want to learn more about, if I want to learn more about Claude Cowork, or I've seen it on Twitter a few times, I'm more likely to comment on the previous lead magnet on Claude Cowork and get the knowledge pack or whatever. So is this a problem that I have right now? Is the relevance piece? And I've seen this also with my lead magnets, and maybe this is a good time to look at the examples, but for you as well, I've seen this. The ones that I had who got over 2,000 comments or 1,000 comments, they're all about AI. They're all about agents. They're all about maybe CloudBot or something, some hot topic essentially that is kind of the pulse of the moment. So you really want to catch whatever is the hot topic, and there are ways of doing this. I've seen mostly the best way of doing this is just being on Twitter, and being kind of on the forefront of everything that's happening, like being an early adopter, if that makes sense. So that's how you stay relevant at all times. And you have to make all these 3 things visible and obvious. Obviously, this is the best way to have a good LinkedIn profile, high converting LinkedIn profile as well, is to have credibility, show the value that people can get from you. Like, what am I doing for you? Getting you more bacon, or getting you more leads with lead magnets, etc. So this is kind of in general, I think, good advice for both LinkedIn and lead magnets. And
makes sense. All that makes sense when I look at some of the examples later on.
Sure. So we can keep pushing actually with the breakdown of all 3 of these if you want. If you're not going to share the examples right now,
I mean, I can if you want. Like, maybe it just makes a lot more sense.
So yeah, maybe actually just take a breather here, and then maybe like just recap all of these 3 steps afterwards. Let me see if we can.
So let me then share my screen. So naturally, guys, we run a few lead magnets, and I'm going to show some of the. I mean, all of them actually were very successful, but that's because we orchestrated them as well. So we're going to look at something that you mentioned about value, relevance, and authority, right? Or credibility. And the posts also don't have to be that long themselves, but I think the first thing that comes to mind when it comes to, okay, so we have an idea about what we're going to talk about, right? And the topic is, hey, how am I booking 500 demos per month, which is exactly what it says also in my headline as well. And how are we actually doing that, right? So a lot of people are curious. A lot of people want to get some, let's call it golden nuggets in terms of how you're able to move the needle here. So you can give them some nuggets on that front. And this is something that you can put into a lead magnet. But before I think about writing a copy, I actually think about the image. And when it comes to actually booking demos, what is the image that represents typically, a founder, CEO, a sales rep, or a sales guy like myself that has been in sales? You want to make sure your calendar is stacked with meetings, right? And you can prove that with a true image, which is a true image. It's not a fake, it's not something I put in Photoshop or something, put here. It's a true just picture. I just took the calendars of all my employees that have demos, essentially the sales team. And then I took a picture, right? So somebody takes a picture of me. And this idea, to be honest, it was not even my own idea, like to do this particular image. I took the idea from another individual that also did a lead magnet, actually. So one of the things, if you need some inspiration, just look at other people and how they do their lead magnets. And if they talk about sort of pipeline building, what is it actually in that image? And you can just simply replicate that, right? So But yeah, I mean, so everything was done here sort of manually, so we didn't use Lead Shark at that particular point. But it took a lot of time to do that. I think it takes typically on average, if you don't use something like Lead Shark, you need an employee that should work full time or something. But it took us like I think about 2 weeks just to put the whole Notion doc together. So there's definitely, you can call it a project that has to be delivered typically over a couple of weeks. So it's taking a long time to prep and kind of put everything into this. And of course, when we do send out that lead magnet, we want to make sure people are not disappointed. But they're getting enough of a value for them to think positively about us, right? And we are capturing the email address, and then nothing happens apart from adding them to a newsletter, to be honest. So they do get added to the newsletter, and we don't actually follow up from there on. It just goes into our newsletter, and we would hope for them to kind of sign up later on. And that's how we do it, right? So it's not the sharpest way. So you can, Rasgar, now butcher me in terms of not doing a good job maybe on the leads. But yeah, we get like thousands and thousands of leads on every single lead magnet. And then we just try and figure out, what to do with it. But like the typical path right now is just adding them to a newsletter, and for them to continue then getting value from the newsletter we have right now. So this is one example, right? So about 500 demos. And then the other example is I'm going to share is around something else. Was it this one? I think it was this one. Yeah. All right. People are messaging me probably because I'm live. So here, I think back then, so I did this 6 months ago, and I think so you have to kind of follow the trends, right? So because the trend right now is AI, etc. But like 6 months ago or so, and it's still a trend right now, is how do I use a tool called N8N for workflow building, and what are some of the most sophisticated things that you can do, with N8N? And today we have over 300 N8N workflows in the business, right? So we just want to kind of package the 10 most powerful ones and give it to the people kind of to think about and inspire them. And again, I use the keyword here N8N, so super short and snappy. In the previous one, even goes AI. I use bacon, for example, as a keyword, etc. But this was the image that we used, right? So N8N make a giveaway. You're kind of showing some of the workflows. Just take a screenshot, and you're just saying what it is. A WhatsApp call, DM, calling agent, whatever, reducing churn. So like 3 different examples that would resonate, and then 7 more workflows, right? So. And again, so it went quite well, right? So we have 1.4K comments in here, 18 reposts, whatever. And of course, the way that so there's a lot of value inside, right? So, but one of the things that we do is like we were doing back then is, so yes, when the person comments, we would immediately in the early days meaning, in the first hour, we would say it's coming. So we don't share necessarily anything. And then later on, we would comment with the second comment and we say, hey, here's the resource. So when you click on that resource, then they will give us the email address, they'll get added to the newsletter, and they get that resource, right? So this is how it would typically work. But then later on, it matters kind of less so, because people would still comment, and I would just give them immediately the link. And to be honest, this was done manually. So I would do this manually and spend a lot of hours. So here we have one guy that's asking for the same, magnet like even a month ago, and I haven't done that yet, right? And I'm going to send that to him. Let me know what you think, right? Short and snappy reply. But this actually is something that I would not recommend if you have, like, let's say, an individual with less than 500 connections, because you can get literally banned from manually just commenting. So I do know, essentially, these are typically interns or people just don't have very good standing with LinkedIn yet, as strong as mine. So I can do this nonstop, but I know other employees that in different companies that do get banned if they do just manually comment on every single one of those posts. So that typically happens. What I've seen is if you have like less than 200 connections on your profile and you start doing these things, you look like a bot essentially. So I don't know. Do you have any maybe insight on kind of these sort of things? Why you shouldn't do manually maybe the comments?
Yes, and yes, and I think you touched upon like 2 really great things. So the first one I heard from you is like, even if you don't have the deliverable, so this is something that I do sometimes also, right? Like I'm too, let's say, lazy to finalize the resource, but I want to post right now. This is something that you can do with Lead Shark actually. Basically like saying something like coming soon or coming tomorrow, like, so you can send that initial comment, which is like beating the DM even, and then like 1 day later, add the DM template with the resource, and then that gets sent out to everyone. So this is something that you can do definitely with Lead Shark. And the second thing that you raise is also a good point, right? So this is a very, very common question, obviously, for people who are in the LinkedIn space. You guys also have, like, Ask Forge, some LinkedIn activity going on. So I'm sure you get this question a lot as well. Like, what separates a safe LinkedIn tool from a non-type of safe? And the main answer I give to this question is that I have had many customers that came and they said that they were restricted for 1 or 2 days before, and they have used zero automation in their entire life, right? So this
Yeah.
is obviously very possible to oversend DMs or oversend comments. So what the platform is looking for essentially is overactivity. Like, am I overdoing something basically at scale that I cannot be doing like a human, essentially? So and what I tell those people is, here you can set, first of all, your own limits for everything, including how many DMs that are going to go out, how many comment replies are going to go out, how many connection requests are going to go out to people who comment on my posts. And also, it's, obviously for the LeadShark case, it's fully inbound. So people here are raising their hand, like, please send me the resource. That's a key maybe difference as well, like, of the platform, I would say. So I'm kind of approaching like marketing qualified, at least, leads, or sales qualified leads in a way. So, but the real answer, like I mentioned, is like, if you do this at scale, like 300 comment replies or whatever, maybe 500 replies per day, you also run the risk of getting flagged by the platform, even if you use zero automation. So it makes pretty much no difference. It even is sometimes better because you cannot exceed or overextend those limits that you set for yourself. So it makes it more robotic almost.
So like, it's quite painful for me, right? So this is where I wish I knew about LeadShark back in the days. But I think the other things that are very important to kind of think about is when you are designing magnets, is all of these things kind of improve your reach. So essentially, think about how can you build a lead magnet, that gets, reposts, whether you're asking your employees for reposting, right? Or I have, for example, multiple LinkedIn pages that I can use to repost. How can you make it look so valuable that people want to save that resource? So if people save the resource, you get a massive reach boost. And this naturally I don't think this is something you can control, but how can you make people kind of send it on to somebody else, right? So how can you do that? I mean, you can kind of maybe fake it, ask people, hey, can you forward these a few times? Because my take is this is good for the algorithm. This is very good for the algorithm, and this as well, right? So commenting as well, right? So all these, it's like a multiplier essentially, right? That's how I think about it. And reactions as well, right? But like, I bet like the more they comment, repost, like save, like these are higher sort of multiplier, and this is why everything goes crazy. And so on this one we can see what is a performance list with 100K impressions, 60,000 people reached, right? So and I would assume that about let's say like there's like 1,000 probably plus people that were added to a newsletter. And then from then that it sort of trickles down, right? So we would actually not reach out to people, so we don't enrich with anything sort of further, like we don't kind of engage with them. This is maybe it's not, probably doesn't make me look good, but I bet other people are engaging with those lead magnets, right? They are following somehow. Is that true, Roscar?
So saves actually is a very, very interesting point, which I have not really analyzed, but you already touched the meat of the subject here, which is why do lead magnets in the first place? Essentially, is to get more views or more eyeballs on the post itself, right? So, and I see these like these things like lead magnets are dead, or this anti like lead magnet sentiment, which kind of keeps popping up every now and then, like once a year or something. So, and the quick answer, like, why do I not put the resource in the comment or whatever in the post itself? Like, here's the link. Go to this, GitHub or go to this Notion or whatever. And there is a very simple answer to that in my mind as well, which is, if you truly believe that your free resource is benefiting a lot of people, right? Like, it's not just BS. It's actually a really good resource. And I also spent at least 4 hours on the resource that I'm giving away. So you spent 4 hours, maybe up to 1 week, you said, with the team members?
Yes, 2 weeks, with the team. Back and forth.
2 weeks. 2 weeks with the team doing it. And then after spending 2 weeks of team effort, which is X amount of dollars, would you want only 15, 20 people to see that, or 1,000 people who might actually benefit from this to see that? And the only way, in my mind, to get 1,000 people to see it is if other people comment and if other people repost that post, essentially making it go viral. So that's the kind of added benefit of asking for the comment, in my mind. And it's not really an engagement, trick or like a hack in my mind, because if you truly believe in what you're giving away, which is the resource, then you want the maximum amount of people to benefit from it, like from what I'm teaching, for example. So that's kind of the breakdown. But I think I can tie it back nicely to my slides, which is going to start with the value again and just basically wrap it up. And this is what I'm talking about, right? So you are the domain authority. You give them a clear outcome of you're going to go from A to B, and you sell them this tangible benefit. You obviously want more people to comment on it. The benefit of more people commenting on it is kind of exponential in my mind. Like it is, yes, leads and it is comments, but also it's business partnerships. It's other opportunities that you wouldn't, get otherwise. Like maybe I met you through, lead magnets in the past because you commented on one of my lead magnets, if that makes sense. So that kind of wraps it up nicely. Also, we talked a lot about credibility. So here I will talk more about maybe consistency. So how can I do this repeated delivery? How can I keep the quality consistent in a way that I can scale this system from beyond just me? So beyond just one person delivering it, right? And this is something that Harold and team, which know them as well, they're doing it really, really well at scale. So here's just one example.
Yeah, consistency, because everybody's asking, what is a good sort of pacing or like frequency in terms of actually just publishing a magnet? Is it like once a month? Like what do you see from a kind of frequency standpoint?
Sure. Well, this is a very scientific answer, but it depends. It depends on who you are, and it depends on where you are in that scaling journey, if that makes sense, right? So,
but what's the average? What is the, let's call the default suggestion?
What's the default suggestion? Is a good question. So my default suggestion is maybe 2-3 times per week is a sweet spot, or at least once per week. Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying this because I need to sell more lead mag, but I'm saying this because I've seen these two examples, Harold and also Jesse. I think this is the screenshot on the right side. Jesse's doing it every single day and delivering the same amount of leads for 6 months. So I know that this can work at scale as well. And Harold, in this example, and the Bureau Ventures team, they've scaled this from one account to maybe like 90 to 100 accounts of different real people. I mean, so basically you can imagine this as, and you do this, I know as well, with employees accounts, friends and family. They do it with partners of their program. So for example, in December last year and December this year for Christmas, they do a Christmas giveaway from like an advent calendar from December 1st to the 25th. Every single day they're doing a lead magnet until Christmas, basically, and they do this across multiple accounts. I think this year they did it across like 50 accounts. They're doing one lead magnet per day across 50 accounts. So that's why I know that it's it can be done at that scale. And the reason why I don't recommend that scale to most people, including myself, I do actually probably not enough lead magnets. I do like maybe 2-3 times per month. Is because I don't have the time to create this evergreen content, or I have not taken time away from my building LeadShark to build this library of content that is what's called evergreen. And this is also what the Bureau Ventures team is teaching and practicing also at all times. So here they have 30 resources, for example, for different ICPs, right? Like B2B to small businesses. I'm making it up a little bit, but like to founders, to consultants, to this and that, who are different segments of their ICP essentially. So you want ideally to get to a point where you have essentially one resource for each ICP. And then at that point, you can kind of recycle those resources. And I do this as well. Like the lead magnet resource, I built it maybe 1.5 years ago. I'm consistently upgrading it and making it more aligned with the times. But basically, once you have these 20 or 30 pieces of resource, what you can start doing is you can kind of start rotating them. If you're doing 2-3 per week, that adds up to like maybe 10 per month. And if you have 20 resources, that means that every 2 months you're kind of going back, and you're after 2 months you're kind of starting with the first resource, if that makes sense. And you can always rewrite.
I've done literally the same resource. I just want to see what happens, and I got 2/3 of engagement of the initial piece, because naturally some of the people remember probably the initial piece, but with my following, but I've did it probably like 6 months later. Like I was like, what if I just kind of recycle the same? Everything was exactly the same, like literally the same constant copy, the same lead magnet, everything, and it still performs like massively well. So yeah, I'm a big believer in this. I just have not
Mhm.
built a system around this, like personally myself. But
Sure.
I can see that, if you have these sort of evergreen assets, and I do. So for example, if you go to, I think it's called resources.salesforce.ai, you can see all my
Mhm.
resources. So yeah, I mean, Harold told me as well, why don't you package it and kind of make it evergreen? And I was
Mhm.
like, that's a very good idea, because I'm not driving that much traffic to resources.salesforce.ai with all these magnets it's not just magnets, just resources for people to use. But he's like, why are you
Mhm.
not pushing, why are you not, feeding the audience with this, valuable resource? And he had a very good point, because you just need to build it once, and you just want to recycle it at the right sort of pacing or frequency,
Mhm.
because, yeah, a lot of people have not seen it maybe 6 months ago, right? But they have seen it today. So yeah.
For sure, for sure. And they're doing this at scale with things like the LeadShark API, where you can schedule the post, schedule the automation,
Yep.
not just for one person, but for multiple people. And again, just to close this example up, they do have a direct integration even from their platform to LeadShark. Essentially, if you enter your API key, you can get the leads from LeadShark into their platform as well. So definitely, they do this at a very, how can I say, one of the most scalable ways that I've seen as well. So,
I'm gonna
and then
call it
the last, yep.
programmatic is probably the right word for this.
More programmatic is the right way to do it. Yeah, I do it more vibe based as well. Like, so basically, whatever the vibe I'm in, or whatever headspace I'm in, I do a lead magnet about that. Like, for example, if you can see on my back, I have the Mac Mini that's
Yeah.
running the Cloud Bot at the moment, or OpenCloud. So basically, I did 3 posts about OpenCloud because that's what I'm interested in at the moment.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of the
Because that's what's trending right now, right? So whatever is
that's what's
hot,
exactly. I mean,
that's what you build
that's what's
upon
trending.
around. Yes, and that will give you the boost as well, right? And the additional reach. So it has to be also like, there are definitely lead magnets that are like timely, or just in
Mhm.
time kind of magnets versus evergreen magnets. But the just in time magnet can be still recycled.
Mm.
So yeah, like we also think about, oh wow, something was launched. So there was, we that's how we think as well. So there's a trend. Claude Code is trending like now massively, and we're trying to think, capitalize. Okay, Claude Code plus cold email or LinkedIn, what we do, right?
Mm.
How can we what can we do there? So yeah, there's actually some stuff coming up on that front, but it's not a lead magnet, but it's something else. That's the output, because it's kind of just in time output that we're looking to produce. So yeah, and so the sooner you
Nice.
do it, the better the
Yeah.
reach, right? So I think that's the other piece. So from the moment of the announcement, whatever, the sooner you do it from that moment, the better the high impact, right? So yeah.
Yeah, very great points. And again, just to echo one of the things that you said is it has to tie to some output that also ideally ties into your core offering at one point,
Yeah.
if that makes sense. So that's one thing that I've been kind of missing the mark with my lead magnets. To be very honest, is that there's no magnet audience fit. So I am talking about AI a lot, but maybe those people are not the best people to post on LinkedIn or run lead mag. So I am trying to bridge that gap essentially. So after again CloudBot, I am trying to bridge that gap. So now I can make lead magnets that are talking about AI and LeadShark because I have the MCP actually. I'm not going to go into what is an MCP because that's another session maybe. But so basically, MCP is a way of AI such as CloudBot or Cloud Code to talk to LeadShark and to allow people to create these automations. So now I can literally vibe create automations from Slack or iMessage even. I can say like pull my last post, automate my last post for AI keyword and send them
Yeah.
this resource. I can do this literally on Slack. So that's something that I'm kind of pivoting into as well. So that's the magnet audience fit, I can tell. And poop, poop, poop. So this is just to again to wrap up the whole like value proposition that and also the strategy that we're kind of practicing and also preaching in this webinar or trying to practice. So we saw that both of us are kind of missing the evergreen side a little bit, which is the last piece. But so the first component was give value, deliver it fast, and gain people's trust. Essentially, become a credible source of information, educate people, and basically do what you promised to do. The second step, which is again, you can do this with LeadShark, you can do this with other platforms, is capture their email somehow. And we do have the native pages, which is like an email gated page basically. Then it can score people based on the answers that they give to certain quiz funnel questions. So we have a basic quiz funnel that you can create within LeadShark. and you can ask like, what is your company size, or what industry maybe you're in, to find out immediately whether they're ICP or not. So they self-qualify almost, and this is because we don't have too much of an enrichment flow or anything. So it's the easiest way of finding out whether someone's ICP or not, and it filters the noise amongst 2,000 people and basically surfaces the higher intent lead who are willing to fill that form, willing to put their email. And at the last step, once you have that email, and we talked about this a lot as well, is to tie them into a newsletter. This is something that I do as well. Most of my lead magnets go to Kit or Beehive. So I have 2 newsletters. One of them is on ConvertKit, one of them is on Beehive, which we have native integrations with both of them. So you can basically put your publication ID from Beehive, and LeadShark will send over those emails directly to Beehive. And I do this as well for 2 of my newsletters. And this is how you go from posting to having a full system essentially on LinkedIn, in my mind as well, and capture the leads. And this is my last slide. I think I'm not going to show the LeadShark pages in detail, because I think we need to have some time for questions, maybe like 10 minutes we have left. So, but if you want to get my free resource, this is the QR code for Lead Magnets 101 as well. So.
Sounds good. One thing that you mentioned, which resonates a lot, is so there's definitely people that are posting on these lead magnets, etc., commenting, is that I'm not able to also reach out to everybody, and then I have to prioritize only on particular leads. And typically, I look at the titles, maybe country, etc., right? Because most of our customers are in the US, so I would definitely follow up with every person in the US, and that's kind of the qualification process. But like other parts of the world, if I don't have the capacity, or like if I'm doing things manually, like, yes, you're missing out on some of the people, you're not following up, and then they're like, oh, where's the magnet, right? So I think, something like this can definitely solve this dilemma around kind of making sure you're following up with everybody, but then you're also qualifying, and then you're doing something else happens, so yeah.
Sure.
This is great. Sure. So guys, if you want to take the QR code, that's great. So let's have a look at some of the questions. So if anybody has any questions, feel free to put them down. And let's have us check what are some of the questions. I think Nick has a question. He has a couple of questions actually, so let's take those. Have you seen lead magnets work with execs at Fortune 500 companies? How do you measure what a lead is?
Sure. Well, I'll start with the second part of that question because it seems easier for me. So how do you measure what a lead is, or how do you define what a lead is, again, Hormozi defines lead as someone who you have their contact information, right? A lead is basically just someone you have their contact information. That could be their LinkedIn profile, email, phone number, etc. In my case, I say, go from post to leads because, you can use the full system and capture people's emails as well, get their contact information. And also they're raising their hand to becoming what's called a marketing qualified lead. Like they're actually asking for your resource, if that makes sense. The first part, do we have any Fortune 500 people doing lead magnets? I have seen, I guess, a lot of Y Combinator people doing lead magnets, startup people doing lead magnets. Do I have Fortune 500 customers? I don't think so at the moment. That may be also, kind of because LeadShark is early stage. But I mean, if you have seen some examples that are successful, let me.
I have not seen, but what I can definitely say is, and you have not covered that, but I think it's a definitely valid point, is to partner up with Fortune 500 company maybe, and then do a lead magnet together. It's like me and you with totally different companies, but we're trying to provide value on the topic that we're very passionate about, lead magnets, and driving leads, etc., pipeline, and you just, somehow you get into the realm of Fortune 500 companies, somebody there, and you say, could we do like a lead magnet together? And so you figure out, who do you need to speak to from another company to be able to do this, and that's how probably I would approach this just personally. When I'm thinking about our lead magnet, who could I do this with? And that's with you, right? So like, it's kind of obvious, and then because there's a very good match between the two people in this session, it drives a lot of attendance, people getting a lot of value, hopefully, and then it leads to the next steps, whatever that is, whether they want to check out LeadShark or not, it's totally fine as well, right? So, but I think people just struggle to generate these lead magnets, and then you have to think about whatever the struggle is, who is the best person to be doing the lead magnet or the webinar, whatever that is, right? So yeah. Let's just take another question also from Nick. How do you make sure you're capturing the prospect's info who is clicking the link that you draw people to?
Sure.
So again, you have the fill form, right? So
Yeah. Again, a great question that ties directly into the maybe the second biggest value proposition of LeadShark is that we have the pages, right, which replace maybe like a type form, which you can ask people questions and get their email. Essentially, it's what I call a funnel or a quiz funnel, basically. So LeadShark does this in a way. We have the leads.sh short link. Leads.sh is like LeadShark. So basically, it just gates whatever your resource is, or it converts that to that link. At which point you can track link clicks on that link. Where on earth are they based? The people
Yeah.
who click on that link from their IP address, so it's very accurate most part. And then you can even view them on a world map actually in LeadShark. So where are the people located in the world that clicked on my lead magnets and gave me their emails and or basically. So that's a functionality that you can do.
Let's just follow up because he just asked it immediately question. Then
Sure.
we're going to go to another person. So he was just asking if the ICP is Fortune 500 CIOs. Have you seen lead magnet work? Meaning a Fortune 500 exec actually comments lead magnet. I would not, definitely not on my lead magnets, but have you seen or have your customers voiced this, that there was a case?
I not really entirely sure. Then again, my customers are also not really selling to Fortune 500 companies. They're like
Yeah,
they're
a lot of people.
consultants. They're consultants that are selling to usually SMEs or other small businesses or startups, I would say. But that is a great. I think it is more likely for this to happen than the first question that we interpreted it to happen, because I think they do have some type of maybe stigma around posting from their personal account. Is
Correct.
my intuition, right? Like, so they're not gonna be seen as engaging or engagement asking on LinkedIn.
My technique is
publicly.
that it's a no, actually, like personally, because
Yeah,
you work for a big company and you have to, like what you say on LinkedIn is pretty, you have to speak sometimes to legal to even
sure.
comment on LinkedIn. So like I would say no, like if it would be just me without knowing what the data says, I just also have never seen that. I don't see Google execs or like whatever, commenting or like doing these things. That's because what they
Sure.
say publicly on LinkedIn, X, etc. You could get fired for that. So that's why they
Sure.
didn't do that. All right, Milos has a
But
question.
yeah,
What are the traits of a great lead magnet? How long should it be? I used to send 15-page docs, highly personalized, but too long. Now with 5-6 pages.
again, a great question. I think this is about the resource that the lead magnet is sending. It should be, as I mentioned, it should be easily applicable, and somebody can take it and use it in that day, ideally, right? So what I've seen from at least my personal experience is most people are kind of just skimming through the resource, if that makes sense. So if it doesn't have that boom wow factor in like 1 or 2 pages in an executive summary, it can attract their attention. I would not spend time in doing a 15-page research doc, mainly because people don't have the attention span to read it anymore, unfortunately.
Correct.
Maybe they give it to an AI and get a summary from ChatGPT, essentially, of the
way that I would answer this question is like, so you want to provide value and you're not really sure what value is, but like provide at least 10 points essentially. And hopefully 1 or 2 points are of a lot of value for that particular audience. And then you've done your job. But essentially, if there's at least one key takeaway from this lead magnet that you can, immediately introduce you to the business today out of 10, like 1 out of 10, you're doing a good job. But then that means you need to provide 10 insights or 10 kind of bits, just think about the 10x factor. Like if they need 1 insight, they learn something, but give them 10 very different insights about this space. Or like in my case, how to book 500 demos. Well, I'm going to provide 10 different ways how I think about booking 500 demos. Or like NA10 workflows, 10 top NA10 workflows, that I would provide to the audience. Well, hopefully one of them they will implement today, or they can go ahead and implement, right? So, and I'm optimizing for the one, but I don't know which one is the best one. Like, for me, it's this is the best one, but for the others, it's not going to be. They're going to say it's horrible. But I'm just trying to find the 10 most valuable ones in different spaces, like one NA10 workflows for churn management, one NA10 workflow for sending a WhatsApp message, another workflow for this and that, right? So they're in very different spaces in the business, and hopefully one of them will be, oh, wow, this is pretty cool. I'm going to go and tell my sales ops manager, whatever guy, to implement this. And it's just about this one thing that they're very going to be sort of grateful for, because that made an impact to the business, that one thing. And they'll come back to you, right? If you're going to have another lead magnet, or they're just, more favorably sort of looking at you. So yeah.
So that's actually great. And maybe I want to touch upon the last question, because, something just came to my mind, right? So one thing I've experienced, again, with viral lead magnets, and if you take anything from this session today, I want it to be, you should also try to go viral on LinkedIn. And this is why. Even if you're selling to Fortune 500 chief information officers or CEOs. If you are not viral and if you're not visible on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
you are automatically disqualified. Like, so they don't know who you are in the first place, right? So that's
Correct.
one thing that a viral lead magnet gives you, that is not just a comment from a lead, but the eyeball of that person. Immediately,
I'll
if
give you an
you get
example.
2,000, yeah, exactly. Go
I'm
ahead.
going to give you an example of that. If you go viral, and even though they're not going to comment on you, like don't always try and get the leads, the comments, the likes. What I'm engineering for is impressions, reach.
Mhm.
That is,
Mhm.
so if you're talking to the smartest people in the world, it's all about reach, because somebody will see this post and somebody will take a screenshot of it and gonna put it into the Slack channel. And guess what? You've done your job. Fantastic. But there's no record. There's no like, there's no comment, and there's no lead. But they've seen you. So so this is what you're saying, go viral. So if you want to have some examples of what it means to go viral, have a look at some of my weirdest posts that I've done in the last few days around the Epstein files, or what the crazy stuff that people kind of send out there in the emails and the cold emails. So I try just to have kind of put out there on LinkedIn stuff that's just crazy stuff, crazy emails that people send out there. And yeah, I'm not hoping for likes. And yes, a lot of people are like, how dare you? How can you do this? Blah, blah, blah. And sure, somebody will take a screenshot, forward it, etc. So you're trying to sort of engineer this word of mouth. Oh, did you see Frank's post about this crazy email? Right? Try to think about from that standpoint. And you can do that also in Lead Magnet. Right? Have you seen Frank's Lead Magnet on 500 demos? Or have you seen this? Like, you also want to engineer that. And the only way this happens if you go viral, there's reach here, So if you want to have the top example, last April, I made a post, and it was not a lead magnet, but you can think of it a bit like a lead magnet as well. I made a post on the 1st of April that I was fired by the board of the company. And because,
I remember it. I remember that post.
Remember it, right? So for me, I looked at that as a lead magnet, but I had nothing to kind of really sell. But it was the same intention that I looked at it a bit like a lead magnet. And guess what happened? I disabled the comments in the section, and then all people started to DM me. And that DM is a lead, essentially. That's how I look at it, right? So it's just a different way to think about the lead magnet. Maybe that's a product idea for you, how to go something crazy, disable the comments, and then actually make people kind of reach out to you about you being fired. So yeah. Anyway, so this is the last. I know we're a bit over time, but Raskar, I guess people can find you on LinkedIn. Is that correct?
That is correct. You can search for LeadShark on Google. It's the first thing that comes up, or my name. And just try and go viral. I mean, that leads to this butterfly effect of maybe we even wouldn't have had this conversation today if I hadn't shown you 1 year ago, here's 2 of my viral lead magnets. I remember showing maybe like here's one I got with 1,000 comments. So you never know what's going to happen. It is like a butterfly effect, and definitely at least give it a shot if you haven't done one. So
cool. Yeah, if you got any questions about how to build pipeline, guys, find me on LinkedIn as well, Frank Saunders. And otherwise, we'll be in touch. There will be a recording on YouTube, and see you around. Thanks, Raskar.